I'm Nicola Frimpong, I'm an artist, I live in Surrey. Life inspires me, but then I actually don't know. A combination of reality and dreams, a lot of fucked up stuff, a journey into the authenticity of the human mind, psychological diarrhea, just shitting out. I've always used watercolours, acrylic at a very young age. I have always found them manageable. I tried oils and it was, disastrous, so I just stuck to watercolours. I find it, simple and easy to do, and I love the results. I also use pen to make the figures stand out. They appear bold and fresh. I've always used a software paint earlier in my youth. It's an easy tool than Photoshop. Photoshop's just very deadly. Just don't go near it. It's a touch of everything, film, material, internet, people, life. I look at Dali, Otto Dix, Bosch, Hogarth, the Chapman brothers, Henry Darger and Marquis de Sade. They just fed my imagination, but it's one's dream. I'm essentially self-taught. To be honest with you, I don't think about the audience at all. I couldn't care. You should be true to yourself, even if the world is confused by you. It doesn't matter. If you don't make sense to the world, you need to consider the possibility the world hates you. The world never wanted you. In all probability, the world despises you. It's only after we've lost everything, we're free to do anything. I've always displayed the work in series. The work has been framed to embrace the realness and power, a mix, people stating it's art, people stating it's not art. I have received a high volume of positive and negative comments from shows, my site, and in general. You just have to attempt not to take it personally. I don't believe to censor myself for anybody, whether you understand what I am. Feelings must be open to reality before mental stress becomes a social problem. It needs to come out, it needs to be released. The arts, may be controversial but still show a significant message. I'm on this journey, I'm finding out about myself. I don't know where I'm going. I'm an open-minded person. I want to go to places I've never been before. I want to open your eyes for the first time. I have no time to think, it's an instant. I would say I'm growing at this point. I don't know where my next subject would take me. Location, inspiration, and time, you can't measure, it's a process. I'm inspired by Henry Darger. Henry Darger is an outsider artist, and he's someone that I've been looking at for the past couple of years. And if anyone doesn't know about outsider art is pretty much artists that are not plugged into the art world and they keep the work to themselves. They're very independent. They don't call themselves artists. For example, a gardener or a teacher, and they don't call themselves artists. And it seems to be very obsessive and illustrative, and they fall under people that are mentally or crazy or strange, bizarre. It's a very abstract world, outsider art. And his work were depictions of girls being disemboweled, tortured. It was like a war going on, and they were very dreamlike, and references, of girls mostly. Actually, that was his subject, and the subject was so strange. And I thought to myself, this is so weird, and it did inspire me that this person had so much inner richness, and you should see his stuff. Henry Darger, it's very bizarre, but it really caught my eye. I thought I was transported to a different world. Yes, I look at artists such as Bosch. Bosch is someone that I looked at art school, and I immediately fell in love with it. And I kind of thought to myself, where did it all come from? Where did all those thoughts come from actually? And I haven't stopped looking at it since. That it's just someone in their own world, and all these orgies of people being damned, people being cut up, and it just goes on and on. It's just so consistent, and it's just something like extraordinary. And he's some artist that I always come back to and like I get so inspired by him. It really does feed my imagination, and I like to look at things that, are very unique, and it just stays with me, and it just grows, it just flourishes. I look at Champion Brothers' work, and they come under, shock artists, and their work is the epitome of shock art. They pretty much coined it. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, what the hell am I looking at? It was just so shocking because, you see a bit of what you call a juxtaposition of children and pornography, and, that doesn't really go. And they were into the whole kind of like, attention seeking to shock the viewer and putting inappropriate things that go together. And I thought, that's very courageous that, not many people can do that and get away with it. But for them, they're like the jokesters and they just don't care what people think. And, I really admire that. I really admire people that just don't give a shit what the other ones think of them and just do it because, at the same time, they're passionate about their work. And I believe in, freedom of speech and expressionism. I think it's just pretty much what you grasped actually, that, if I see something that I think, this is interesting, that I will incorporate a reference, whether it's going to be a positive or negative reaction. I couldn't really give a shit, I don't have time to care. But I just pretty look at the world, that's what I do. I look at the world, I take it in, and then I just spit it out, yeah. I think my work has always been historical. Like I always go back in time and then I come, to the contemporary world. And I like to revisit, historical references and, when I say historical, something from, the Nazi, slavery, political, social stuff. So it's just, I touch everything as much as I can. The Renaissance, Greek mythology. I really wanted to incorporate that into one's work because, it's such a, that Swazi is very symbolic. And at the same time, it haunts people. Like not many people look at it or see it or want nothing to do with it at all. But I kind of thought to myself that it was nothing more than a symbol. And at the same time, it was me being an artist. Artists need to be explorative. I'm exploring the world and I want to, grab everything I can and, what you think is art, another person doesn't think is art. And I think, at the same time, I'm very universal. So I want to grab anything, whether it's a, good or bad, whatever constitutes of art actually. I just have to grab it, and turn it into, a statement. So if anything, it's just me not thinking about, grabbing a beautiful flower or a pile of shit, but, just picking up anything, any resource. Watercolour is something that I've always done, at a young age. Like I've been drawing since I was, 3 or something like that. And it's just grown, it's just evolved. And I've always been comfortable with watercolours, crayons. I used crayons in my early days and they kind of shifted to pencils, acrylic gouache. I just found it easy and simple. And I've tried oil paintings, but it wasn't so successful. And there's no point you doing something that you're not good at. And I've always been told that, Nicola, you do well with watercolours. And I've just stuck to it. And I don't see myself doing anything different. And I'm happy and I'm comfortable. And, the results are very clear. I've always used digital too, actually, since I was really young. I found it very easy to do, and I still use the mouse, actually. I don't use a tablet. It's just something that it's just grown with you, and then it's something that I just find easy to do. And I've been doing it since I was at school, and, teachers said that you're really good at it, and I had good results using the software, and people thought it was very clever, actually, how the figures came out, and how it's such a simple tool, and it's not really difficult. Well, for other people, it will be doing it freehand on the computer. And I believe in you need to stick to something that you're good at. And this is what I've been good at. It's as simple as that, yeah. To be honest with you, I wasn't thinking at all. It wasn't about thinking. I guess I was thinking about, the human condition. I may have been in psychosis when I did this drawing that is very horrific to look at. I guess it's the kind of like, it's just, figures and, we're all being damned or we're living at the end of our days and, it's just what is one's interpretation of hell actually that, sex, violence and gore and, just Sodom and Gomorrah of anything. I guess it's some reference for it to being biblical in some unconventional way, but I guess I was looking at artists such as Bosch, and his work is also very religious too, and his, I guess there was some relationship to that actually, but at the same time it was just pretty much, just an impulsive feeling actually, impulsive process. That's what I believe, yeah. The thing, that's not actually an issue at all, actually. Like, I don't want to marginalise myself at all. Like, I like to say that I'm a very open-minded person. It's not about, one pathway. I guess it's not, like I said, an issue, to be honest with you, no. That's something that's new to me. I found it out actually by you, yes, and I believe it's association with race and racism and the whole kind of like rejection of its representation, and that's how I learnt about it. Personally, I've never labelled my work at all, and I don't feel that I'm ready to label it because I just found out about that subject. Many people will say 1,000 things about my work, and that's absolutely fine. But personally, I'm not ready to label my work yet. I'm still growing as an artist. I don't think it's fair actually to start saying something that you're not really familiar with. I need to, read about it more in depth before I can start saying this or that. But it's in the early days, to be honest with you. But I don't label my work. You can, but I don't label my work. Well, basically, I understand that it's a worldwide brand, globalism, and how it's postmodernism entwined with modern art. It's something that's contemporary, what's happening at the moment. I would hear if you're abroad in America, you have much more of opportunity. There's more opportunities going for black artists. There's a market. There's a scene out there actually, and it's something that I'm, thinking about, my future in the art world where I can actually go and perhaps look into that, field. That there's so much buzzing for black artists out there. I have actually. I was in the Saatchi Gallery paper 2013 last year. I was also in the Bloomberg New Contemporaries 2012 to 13, the Institute of Contemporary Arts 2013, and Tate Modern 2010. So I've had my successes, yes. I have a relationship with outsider art. Um, I do appreciate outsider art actually, and I am very interested by that movement. And I like artists such as Henry Darger, Grace and Perry who fall under it, Richard Dadd, Joe Coleman. They seem to be so intact with their humanity, and you can just see so much life in their works. And I appreciate them, no matter what people say. I've heard so many negative comments about them, but at the same time, I think outsider art is the most amazing thing I ever seen, and I have been inspired by it. And I think any art should inspire you, no matter if it being high or low brow. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's what makes you want to, get up and draw. But the world's full of 1,000 opinions, actually. Right now, currently, I'm comfortable. I am very comfortable with watercolors, acrylic and gouache paint and the computer software paints. But, you know, never say never. You know, I could be doing oil paintings next year or something. It's just pretty much how I feel. It's about me being comfortable. Like, I don't want to come out of my comfort zone because, you know, I've been successful, you know, with the watercolors. But I feel right now at this point that I'm happy, you know, being immersed in watercolors, and you know that's pretty much, you know, my brand. But I'm happy with that process. You know, it's been, you know, fantastic for me. Yes.